Hello and welcome to the latest video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to game week 37. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Fantasy Football Scout's deputy editor Tom Freeman to reveal our teams ahead of the weekends and next week's matches because it's double game week. Welcome Tom, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, had a decent game week. I've got 112 points, so up to about 30k now, around about that. We both got bench boosts in play. But how did you get on? You were in the 100 club as well, weren't you?
Yep, 106 points, very happy. Gone up to 25k. Yeah, I mean, I've got some injuries, so we're going to look at that. I know some other people watching and listening might be going through similar injury issues. So yes, you were like miles behind me, about 100 points or something a while ago, and now you're, I think it's 6 points or 7 points.
It's that close. Yeah, it must be pretty close if you're about 25.
Yeah,
but
very close.
Just got a little bit lucky, I suppose. I got on Ben White early. We spoke about that previously. I got Guardiola over Edison on the wild card, and obviously that's kind of pulled it in a little bit. So but let's see how it goes. So I'd be happy with kind of a top 50k, I think. But there's obviously an opportunity to push on as well now if I'm 30k, and the same for yourself if we're both bench boosting.
Well, definitely. But I suspect you may overtake me, but I'm not one of those people who looks at like sort of mini leagues and go, oh, so-and-so's going to overtake me, therefore I'm having a bad season. I'm hoping that if you overtake me, I'm still doing really well.
I think we're both having good seasons if we're both in and around 25, 30k. So.
Well, the reason is I might have to take a hit this week, so that'll immediately put me to around your level anyway, and probably to get players in you've already got. So that's probably why. Now I did a bench boost guide video earlier this week, and I've just done a free hit guide one as well, which is going out later tonight. And that showed me that basically what you're sort of up against as a bench booster with injured players, you suddenly had a bit of a slight disadvantage. So it's okay for me. I'm 25k, so that's fine. And it's a double game week. I've got a bench boost, so I think I'm going to do okay this week. But yeah, but I'm, there might be a slight, not as well as perhaps I hope, but you never know. So just welcome those joining us in the live chat. FPL Wellbeing, Dennis, Jason, Kaya, Historia Films, and many more. I'm assuming you can all see and hear us fine. As usual, I don't get any playback because we're also streaming to X, formerly Twitter, as well as YouTube. And as a result, that means I can't look back at it. So hopefully you can see and hear us all fine. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the fixtures this week, just to remind ourselves of what's happening, but also game week 38, because it's not just this week. I've got to think about game week 38. I've done a couple of tables for attacking, like form attacks and form defenses for teams, just to see, the sort of teams, players we should be targeting. Then we'll look at your team and we'll look at my team and all the injuries I've got and what I might do. And as usual, I look at your team and go, oh, that's good.
Yeah, but didn't we go through a phase of this earlier in the season? And every single week you were still outscoring me, and that's FPL, isn't it? In a nutshell, you can put everything in place. But you just don't know. So let's see. I'm not maybe as confident as you, but we'll see.
I know I am. I definitely am. I look at your team and go, right, that's the team I want. But I've got some hits to that. But it's very similar. A lot of the teams are very similar, but there are obviously differences. Okay. Reminder again, do press that like button and do remember to press subscribe so you can keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Let's have a look at the fixtures that we're dealing with here. So I've done this for game week 37 and game week 38. And Tottenham are top because they got Burnley at home. They do have Man City away, but they also have Sheffield United away in game week 38. So Tottenham could be good for investment over this period. Possibly, arguably not the best double, though, with City there. Chelsea next. They got really good run. Nottingham Forest and Brighton away. Bournemouth at home. Newcastle have got Brighton at home, Manchester United away, Brentford away. Okay, Man City got Fulham and Tottenham away. They could win the league by the end of game week 37, but they can't win it before the end of 37. So therefore, the Game Week 38 side could be a free-for-all in terms of their lineup. Brighton have got Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, and Manchester United at home. But now Brighton have got a resurgent after beating Villa, which is absolutely huge for Brighton, because I believe, you might know this as a Villa fan, Brighton have not beaten Villa at home since the 1980s.
Yeah, we've got a really good record. I didn't know it was quite that far back, but I was putting some notes together before the match on Sunday, and I realised, we generally have the edge over you, but certainly not on Sunday. I mean, I think we had 2 shots. I mean, completely outplayed.
It was a perfect combination for Brighton, like the perfect combination for Villa last time Brighton played them, and Ollie Watkins scored a hatful. Villa were arguably a bit leggy after the European game, and Brighton finally deservedly switched it around slightly. We've hardly got anyone back, but he's finally gone for a bit of experience. So you saw Webster come in. Suddenly we get a good defence again. Pedro was on it. Adingra was on it. So we had attackers that were on it. Pascal Gross was played. And obviously Lewis Dunk is there, and Verbruggen in goal. So it was shored up a little bit. And Gilmore's back as well. So it makes me think that Brighton might nick a result during this little run here. So I don't.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about Brighton, because obviously people are overlooking at them at the moment, aren't they? Given what had happened before Sunday, understandably so. But that performance and that result just got me thinking. And is there an opportunity to maybe take a punt on somebody like Pascal Gross or João Pedro? I don't think I'd touch any of the defenders. But
I think Lewis Dunk maybe. He's second only to Gabriel for shots in the box.
There's a bit of set play threat, isn't there?
No. I don't think there's going to be a clean sheet in this run, though. But I do think Pascal Gross. I was listening to the commentary. He almost scored. It was disallowed for VAR. I think he almost got an assist for something else as well. So there was clear chances there for Brighton.
He looked much better.
Adingra. Well, we'll do goals imminent video a bit later in the week this time. Tom can't do that, so I'll do that with Mark. Spoiler alert, it could have a Brighton midfielder, and it won't be Gross in there. So
if it is Adingra, he was great, and Konza really struggled, and that doesn't happen often to Konza, which tells you how well Adingra played.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, Konza gave away the penalty, didn't he?
He had a really tough afternoon with him. Okay. Looking back, maybe Cash would have been the better option there, but we're obviously trying to manage everybody's minutes because we go to Olympiacos on Thursday.
Yeah. So. Manchester United, meanwhile, complete our doublers. They've got Arsenal at home and Newcastle at home, and then Brighton away. Pascal Gross does have a good record against Manchester United for Brighton, so I'm not averse to getting him in, actually. Arsenal and Newcastle at home, I cannot see a clean sheet there. So that puts me off the Manchester United defence. But also I've got Bruno and I've got Maguire. So problems there. Maguire's definitely out. Bruno, we don't know. So I don't know what you've heard. It is because it's the first time he's missed a game through injury.
Yeah, we had Neil covering the game last night, and as usual with Neil, he's watching all the post-match press conferences, whether that's on Sky Sports or MUTV or BBC, and nobody asked the question about Fernandez, but we will obviously get another presser either on Thursday or Friday this week. But hopefully there'll be clarity either way. Otherwise, it's going to be quite a tough one for those on a bench boost to decide what to do.
Wow. I'm going to play the bench boost because there's no one playing it in 38. I don't know who's going to play that. This is, when we come to my team, it's the big issue. If Fernandez is a doubt, like he was in this game, I'm tempted to remove. If he's pictured in training, then I'm okay.
Yeah, that could be the key.
If I can't see him in training and he's still a doubt and he's still not sure, because apparently it's his ankle. So his hand is causing discomfort. He's got some kind of issue with a sprain or something in his wrist or hand. But that's playable. But it's discomfort, but playable. And bearing in mind, we've seen him with his leg in a brace, and then 2 days later he goes and scores. I'm not worried about that. But apparently this is something to do with his ankle.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I don't know much about the injury, but I immediately thought this is more than just the hand
yeah,
injury. When Ten Hag, I think, said he was a big doubt on
mm.
Friday, didn't he? So
So that
yeah,
makes
let's
me
see.
think. Yeah, because bear in mind this is the first time, so he's had little niggles and knocks before, and that doesn't bother him. He can come on.
No,
So this is something serious. I was reading. I think it was the Manchester Evening News or one of the papers. Like as ever, he wants to play. So all this talk about that he doesn't want to play or anything like that, that's just rubbish.
don't
He
get that.
wants to
Yeah.
play, and this was a decision by the doctors there. So
Mm,
they would have
okay.
said to Ten Hag, look, his ankle's going to be really bad. So they want to get him for that Manchester United final. They
Yes.
arguably would want to get him for these two games against Arsenal and Newcastle and
Yeah.
Brighton to have any hope of Europe,
Yeah.
which are in danger of not getting. Especially, I mean, I look at them without Bruno. I mean, it's talk about a talisman. I mean, they are
Yeah.
probably a championship side without him. I mean, I'm going to get pelters from Manchester United fans, but
Well, you looked at the Palace lineup when the lineups came out, and there's so much quality in that Palace side, and they're a bottom half table at the moment. And
yeah,
you look at it, and they were strong. You looked at that, and you could easily see a 2 or a 3-0 to Palace. I didn't
yeah,
quite see it being a 4, but yeah, the squad's weak, and they've got
oh,
a
it's
lot
so
of
weak.
players out, haven't they? They've got a lot of defenders out
Yeah,
at the moment, and I kind of get that, but yeah, I mean, if Fernandez isn't available for this
yeah,
double, I don't think I even think Garnacho at 5 million is probably a waste of a spot,
yeah,
given the opposition.
yeah.
So maybe consider just Fernandez feels so key for that side, doesn't he? And even if he's fit, this is two tough games as well, isn't
Oh,
it?
I
So
can't see it. So they got Johnny Evans
uh,
and Casemiro. I mean, it's not
yeah,
just like, oh no, oh we won't play them. We'll play someone else. They haven't got anyone
mm,
else. That's it.
no, yeah, bare
So
bones.
they either pay that or they really go to town on the under 14s or whatever. I don't know, and just get them
Yeah,
in. But I just I'm not keen. So Bruno being fit will be key to whether we invest elsewhere in Manchester United.
yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so there's some single game weekers with some good fixtures. I think Everton are home to Sheffield United.
Yeah,
West Ham are home to Luton, and Wolves. The Wolves Crystal Palace game could have some goals in it.
yeah, quite hard to call that one, I
Quite a
think.
hard one to
Right.
call, but
Mm,
could be
mm.
some goals in that game. But the problem is with Everton, for example, you're not going to want too much of their players in game week 38 because they're away to Arsenal.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and speaking of Arsenal, they're against Manchester United is their game, and then they're at home to Everton. So part of
yeah.
me I mean, I've got Bruno Fernandes earmarked for being Saka, and so
Ah,
part of
okay.
me is thinking, should I just get
Do
Saka
it.
in on a bench boost? I mean, literally Saka on a bench
Yeah.
boost with Gabriel and White. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a must-win match for Arsenal.
Mm,
Um, they're gonna score there, aren't they? They're
yeah,
gonna score a couple. I'll be amazed if they don't go to Old Trafford and score a couple. And
yeah,
Saka, of course, on penalties.
yeah.
Great shout. So I can see the logic in that because I don't think there's loads, a lot of people have got those core
Mm,
kind of midfielders for 37. But once you've got those, there might be a free slot for a Saka or something like
mm.
that on a bench boost.
But yeah, I'll come to that in a bit though. But
Mm.
anyway, that's the fixtures, and that's what we're contending with. The sort of changing of form. Newcastle could be getting better away. Certainly, they humbled Burnley, so they got Manchester United away and Brentford away, so it's not too bad.
Mm.
And they're sort of changing from Chelsea, a resurgent now.
Yeah, yeah,
Very, very good attack. Jackson, what for wildcarders like me that got him in reluctantly. I just got him in because he
yeah,
got a couple of doubles.
yeah.
But what
It's all
great
it's all
rewards.
clicked, hasn't it,
Yeah,
for them? They're playing
yeah,
this new kind of system with Cucurella going into midfield, and it
yeah,
just seems to it's clicking. So yeah, I don't think anybody who bought Jackson in was maybe
no,
expecting the returns they got, but we'll happily take it. And now he's probably the best third forward
yeah,
with Isak and Haaland this week, isn't he? So
yeah, definitely. So there's sort of changing fortunes. So
mm,
what we thought was going to happen in game week 35 to now is a little bit
yeah,
different. Let's have a look at those changing fortunes. I've got some attack and defense stats here. So this is Last six, I think I did, or last, yeah, it would have been last six. So this is Man City atop in terms of attack and in defence. So that says investment in both is good. Although, as an Ederson owner, I'm not happy. Gvardiol, because he can concede, Man City, particularly Ederson. So Gvardiol, I think it was in your team, I think would be the best one to go for. But I think investment is good.
Yeah, you've always got the potential for assists and even goals with Gvardiol, haven't you? And so if you lose the clean sheet, you've still got a chance of getting something out of that.
Definitely. Liverpool also a strong attack, actually, in terms of expected goals over the recent matches. They're second to Man City and then Arsenal. Liverpool look good. I mean, I would like some Liverpool in Game Week 38, but I don't have the luxury of that because I've got to manoeuvre transfers, and also in looking at the fixtures, Liverpool in this way, just remind me who they're playing. Yeah, they put Aston Villa away. So
it's a good time. It's a good time to play us.
Well, it's a good time to play, but it's still Aston Villa at home.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to be able to get in Salah in 38. We'll have a look at my team in a bit, and I think it's going to be difficult. I can definitely punt on a Diaz, something like that, or potentially a forward. I mean, Gakpo's been playing really well recently, so you could do something like that. But Salah's the one you really want for that game week 38, but it is difficult.
It is difficult, especially for bench boosters like us, because what we're doing is we're bench boosting. So we're spreading our cash around. So we've got a good front eight. So we haven't got that luxury of having like a 4-point-something midfielder, which you sort of need if you're going to bump up a Foden to a Salah, because that's like a 4 million difference. That's huge.
If you've got Haaland and Son and you want Salah on top of that, it's very difficult, isn't it? Well, it's impossible in my setup, I think.
Other good attacks, Newcastle, so that's good. We want to get Isak. Wilson's worth a punt. Gordon.
Maybe.
But who does Wilson replace? This is what I was talking about in my free hit video, which is out tonight, Tuesday night. Is if you get Wilson, you've got to dump one of Jackson or Isak or Haaland.
Yeah. I mean, I think that some people maybe took a punt on Højlund a few weeks back, and that hasn't played out how they wanted it to. The obvious, if Fernandes is out, the obvious move would be to go to Jackson. But some people at this stage of the season, we saw it with a lot of people moving off Haaland captaincy at the weekend. People are more willing to kind of take risks. And Wilson is kind of like the ultimate differential, isn't he? Because when he plays, he generally scores. So I doubt he'll start both of those games, but he might start one and then have 20 minutes off the bench, and that could be enough. So.
Over the last 6 matches, City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, Chelsea are the only ones to get double digits for expected goals. Manchester United are part of the sort of also ran. So this shows why I got Bruno in, because I thought, well, whatever happens with Manchester United, at least that Bruno Fernandes is getting returns. Nottingham Forest still quite strong, and Sheffield United expected goals of 9 over this period, last 6. But the worst attacks: Luton, Wolves, Everton, West Ham, Brighton, and Villa. So I was quite surprised to see Villa there, and Brentford. So makes me sort of think as we spoke about with Brighton, on this evidence, you wouldn't go for someone like Pedro, but on evidence of last game, there's some attacking intent, and Pedro was good. He was, geeing up the crowd, getting them going. He always looks up for it. He's a great goal. He's a goal scorer in that he's a cocky git. And I mean that in a really good way. I don't want a really shy, retiring goal scorer. I want someone who thinks they are the absolute business.
A bit like kind of we've seen it times in Richarlison's career, especially when he was at Everton. In that kind of way, that not the most popular player for rival fans, but when he's on your team, you love him. And I thought he played a bit more centrally at the weekend with Welbeck, didn't he? He wasn't on the left or anything like that. He was where you want him. So I think he could be. I think he's a decent shot. Again, it's like Wilson. Where do you fit him in? But if you've got a spot, then why not? I'm a bit concerned looking at that attack table as an Everton defence owner, because Sheffield United are obviously flying pretty high up there. They've got nothing to lose, and Everton now they're safe. And we saw it at Luton a little bit on Friday. They weren't quite at it for quite large parts of that game. I know Branthwaite got that return from the assist, but that isn't going to happen every week. The best chance of points for me this week with Tarkowski might be a set piece header, because I'm not sure if I see a clean sheet.
No, I mean, I'm out of all of these. Well, so I'm in the market for defenders and possibly a midfielder. So looking at that attack in terms of midfielders, I'm thinking, because Spurs are, not great over the last 6, but I get a feeling. I mean, the fans have been calling for a Richarlison stance, Son out on the left, and when they switched to that against Liverpool, they were much better. So Richarlison's probably top. I've got a Spurs slot in my team, so Richarlison's probably top of my list.
Yeah,
but also I could just go for Saka, who I want in 38 anyway. And I also think in Pascal Gross for a cheeky Brighton punt. But it's only really those 3 I'm considering. But it's defenders. Well, myself and possibly others might be looking for some changes. Maybe they've got Edison and not happy. Maybe they've got a Manchester United Dallow not happy. Maybe they've got Share and Maguire like me, and they're definitely not happy because they're not going to play. So the best defences to invest in: Man City, we knew that anyway. A couple of clean sheets last 6. Fulham, interestingly, and Arsenal, which is why I've got 2 Arsenal defenders, and I'm happy to bench boost them this week. Brentford, a pretty good defence. Same with Liverpool as well. So I don't rule out getting Robertson in. I'm struggling to get defenders I want. And there's something, I don't know whether you've noticed as well, something about Robertson at the moment. He looks like a bit like he does towards the end of seasons in the past, where he just suddenly looks like he wants to score all the time.
He's fully fit now. He's had a bit of a injury hit season, hasn't he? But he's playing regularly now. He's scored in back-to-back game weeks, hasn't he? I mean, we'll come to my team in a minute. I was looking at defenders, and I can't quite get to Alexander-Arnold. But if I was going to bring in a defender, bearing in mind I already own quite a few of the key ones, Robertson would probably be quite high on that list, I think. I don't think I see a clean sheet at Villa.
No.
I think they'll probably win at Villa, but I don't think. But you could easily get an attack in return there.
So I mean, I don't rule out getting Robertson. But meanwhile, poor defences, Manchester United, so don't expect any clean sheets, especially with Arsenal and Newcastle up next. Aston Villa, not a very good defence, just 1 clean sheet, recent games. West Ham United, sort of given up. I mean, Moyes has been confirmed now, hasn't it? Moyes is going.
Yeah, it has.
So what happens there?
So they go to Man City on the last day, don't they? That could get messy for them there, depending on if City need to win or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, isn't it, with Klopp saying, I'm off. But, this, because that sort of hints at make it a great final season for me. And whether it has or hasn't been, remains to be seen. But Liverpool still looked pretty good at times. But West Ham, I mean, what happens when the manager's basically, his contract's not being renewed, he doesn't want to be there, they don't want him there. I mean, what happens there to a team? I mean, I know if you're in a workplace and your manager's like still there but basically been sacked or made redundant.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not a West Ham fan, but my perception is he's actually done pretty well over the last 3 seasons. I mean, they maybe don't play the kind of football that the fans are always after, but he's got them into Europe, got them the Conference League. So you would think it would be like the match against Luton at the weekend, last home match. You would think that would be a good send off. I think Bowen isn't a bad punt for that, but it is punty because I mean, to be fair to Bowen, he hit the bar 3 times at the weekend at Stamford Bridge, but. I think in terms of Man City 38, if there's something to play for in that, then that's your captain sorted, isn't it, with Haaland? But Tottenham are low down there as well. But we should just say they've played Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Newcastle in the last 4. Yeah. That tends to put you down here in these tables. They aren't a good defence, we know that, but they might not be quite as bad as that table's making out.
And Chelsea, maybe they are. And Chelsea and Brighton also got double. They're sort of mid-table. Yeah. Newcastle actually quite a strong defence. They're in top sixth best defence over in recent matches, last 6. Okay, we're going to move on to our teams. If we've got time at the end, we're going to wrap this up by 2. So if we've got time at the end, we'll answer any questions. So have a think about some questions and put them on after we look at our teams. So we'll go with Tom first. Do you want to read out who you've got and what potential changes you're thinking? Also, I guess with Game Week 38 in mind.
Yes. So I'm playing... Well, it doesn't matter, does it? This week, I'm on a bench boost. I'm playing a 3-4-3, but everyone's playing. You can see the bench boost is activated there.
I guess with the bench boost, you're looking at sort of who's your sort of weakest players, as in, so what is the value of your bench boost?
I have laid it out with my weakest players on the bench, so you can kind of get an idea. Yeah. There's no putting Haaland on the bench to make myself feel better or anything like that. So I'll read out the team with the weakest players on the bench. We've got Petrovic in goal. I've got 3 defenders, Porro, Burn and Guardiola. 4 across the middle, Palmer, Foden, Gordon and Son. Son will be my vice-captain, I think. And then up front, Isak, Haaland, the captain, and Jackson. And then on the bench, I've got Onana, Maddison, Tarkowski and Gabriel. Got 2 free transfers. I didn't use one last week. And I've got 1.2 million in the bank. So... selling Maddison makes sense. He hasn't started the last couple of games. I know he's got a double game week, but I think moving him to Richarlison, I think is the sensible move to make this week. I don't think it's guaranteed that Richarlison plays against Man City.
No.
But I don't mind that if he doesn't, because I think that would suggest he would play Burnley and Sheffield United in 38. So I'm kind of fine with that. So I'm pretty sure that will be my move. I had originally thought about Bruno Fernandes in that slot, but given what we know, given what we've seen at the moment, I think it would be I'd favour Richarlison given those 2 fixtures against Burnley and Sheffield United. The second transfer, now, when I originally built this bench boost in the wild card, I was thinking Gabriel to another defender this week, but the closer it's got, I don't really see the reason for doing that now. I really like Cucurella this week, but I've already got 3 Chelsea. Then it would probably be like we mentioned just then, somebody like Robertson. And moving Gabriel to Robertson doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. So I think what I will do is just make the one transfer, Maddison to Richarlison, save the second, and then go into game week 38 with 2 free transfers and be able to respond to any leaks or lineup info we might get.
And Tarkowski, you happy with him? Home to Sheffield United?
Well, the fact they're safe worries me a little bit, but I don't think I'm not going to change that now. Tarkowski actually is fine in 38 because I'll just bench him. I don't need him.
No, that's fine.
And then looking ahead to 38, I mean, Gordon and Isak are probably the players who I could sell. I think Brentford have looked pretty good recently. Certainly not urgent, but if you've got 2 free transfers to make, I could move maybe Gordon to like a Havertz or a Saka, and then maybe take Isak down to a cheaper forward to afford that, and then bench that player. Because I was looking at it earlier, I've got Foden who plays West Ham, Palmer who plays Bournemouth, Richarlison and Son would be at Sheffield United. You know, it's a strong squad, so it's not obvious what to do. But so maybe the Newcastle boys are the weakest link in 38.
Yeah, it's Arsenal and Liverpool, the ones you want in game 38. You would imagine it would be the full Liverpool. So it's your Salahs, Diaz.
Yeah.
Don't know, probably between Gakpo and Darwin, probably Gakpo at the moment on form. Robertson, Alexander-Arnold, all the ones you'd probably want to invest in. And with Arsenal, you'd imagine the same as well. Saka, Havertz. But yeah, you're looking at that. I mean, I'm okay with Gordon, but yeah, I'd earmark.
Me too.
I earmarked him to be first sub, and I was going to move Fernandes to a Salah or Havertz.
Yes, that would make sense.
And so that would make sense with your teams, where you do have the luxury of going into game 38 with 2 free transfers. I think if you can do that, I think that's a good move, because with those 2 frees, you could get Salah in with 2 frees, possibly a hit somehow.
Yes.
And exactly that.
Yeah,
Got flexibility.
it gives you flexibility. Yeah, exactly, Joe. So that's and Gordon to another defender. Given the lack of clean sheets and appeal of them, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be two attacking moves in 38 because I've got Gabriel who plays Everton at home, Guardiola at home to West Ham, and Porro at Sheffield United.
Yeah.
So I don't really think I need to change that too much.
No, not at all. These are sort of the sliding doors moments. So I could have gone for Burn and Dallow, in which case I'd probably be okay with that.
Yeah, it's unlucky.
But I went Maguire, Share. I went for the attacking upside because they both got, I think, more attacking upside. But now they've got no upside because they're both injured for the rest of the season. And Guardiola, I went for Edison over Guardiola as well. So yeah, so this
I was close to doing that. So very close.
Well, I agree with your moves. You do have the luxury of you just using one transfer to get Maddison to Richarlison, which is a great shout. Or you could or if you wanted to upgrade Tarkowski to another doubler, but then who would it be?
Yeah, that's the thing. If there was an obvious defender, I might look at that, but there's just not really. No. So I think one transfer makes sense.
Right, Joe. Let's have a look at my team. This is the sort of lesser version of that. So mine's a version of your team, but with loads of flags. So game week 37. I've written on the screen here for the benefit of those listening. I've written my plan now. It's just 2 game weeks. It just says game week 37 injuries ! Brackets hit maybe, and then game week 38 Arsenal midfielder ? Finish and have a cup of tea. That's the usual thing at the end. So I've got 3-4-3, and I put my weakest on the bench currently. So I've got Edison in goal, a pointless Harry Maguire, a pointless Share, Pedro Porro. I've got Son, Palmer, Foden, and Bruno Fernandes. I've also got Gordon as my first sub, and that's mainly because of the ones away game. And on paper, if Fernandes is fit, he would be great. But also because I think whoever I get in for Fernandes, I think will be on a par with or as good as or better than Gordon. Anyway, up front, I've got Jackson, Haaland, Isak. So there's a lot of similarities with your team. It's just mainly the injured players. And on my bench, I've got Petrovic, Gordon, Ben White and Gabriel as well. So I've got 2 singlers. So I don't want to get another single game week player. I've got 2. That's enough. It's a bench boost. I do think they're good. I don't want to remove any of my attackers. So I've got 2 scenarios here. The Bruno Fernandes is fit scenario. Then I would still take a hit. And what I would do is I would move Edison to Onana because I think Onana's going to get a hell of a lot of save points. And he's good on a bench boost. I would move Maguire to Gvardiol because removing Edison frees up a Man City spot. And Share would be Burn. And I would spend 4 points on that. I think that would be better. Well, net gain is going to be better. Gvardiol's better than Edison, and Burn and Onana will be better than. Basically, all I've got here is Edison out of those 3.
Yeah,
the other 2 aren't going to play, so I just think that would be good. But if Fernandes isn't fit or is a doubt, and for him not to play, that's big against Palace when they needed to. So I need to see him on the training ground. If I can't see him on the training ground anywhere, any pictures or there's a doubt, I'll remove him to Richarlison and I'll get Share to Burn. And then that leaves another spot for Maguire. And I could go for another Brighton defender. I could go, if I go for Webster, I can get Saka in for Richarlison in game week against Sheffield United, game week 38. But then I think, do I really want to move Richarlison away to Sheffield United? So
probably not.
I may have to go without an Arsenal midfielder. But if I go for Lewis Dunk, who I'm quite happy to go for because there is an upside of a potential goal and also a bonus. And I do fancy a sneaky clean sheet. somewhere there, then I could go for. Then I could just get Havertz in for Richarlison. But yeah, that's you get into a situation. I might just go without Arsenal midfielder.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but
No.
then again, all of the players that you're talking about could easily match Saka and
Yeah,
Havertz that
yeah,
week, given the fixtures.
yeah.
So it's not, and it depends what's riding on it that match as well. It could be a dead rubber. We
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
If United lose at Old Trafford, I know that sounds very unlikely now, but United do tend to do pretty well. They tend to raise their game against Arsenal, especially at home.
Yeah.
You never know if Fernandes is back, and then does that. If there is nothing to play for in 38, then you're looking at Saka and your Havertz and you're thinking, well, they're good options, but they're maybe not as good as they would be if they had to go full throttle. So
the one I would really want and captain in 38 would be Salah.
Yeah, so
I like the look of him the last home game for Klopp.
Oh, he could have got a mega. Well, he could have got a Haaland escort.
I mean, Haaland at home to West Ham on paper is the one, but if they've got a cup final against Manchester United to come,
yeah,
they've wrapped up the league. They've wrapped up the league by the end of 37.
Yeah.
Do I really want to captain Haaland? And I think I spoke about it last week. Do I really want to be around for that? I'll probably be busy, so I'm not going to be around for all those horrible leaks saying Haaland needs a rest or whatever. You know, I'm not. I can't be done with that. Whereas I know Salah's going to play and do well.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully do well. I know Saka's going to play. I don't know whether he's going to do well, but I know he's going to play. I probably would captain Palmer. I think I'm going to captain Palmer at home to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I think I would do that. I think that's my safest option.
Yeah, I'm never going to say not back Palmer because he's been incredible form. Chelsea look really good, especially particularly at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah,
that's the only concern with Chelsea's double. They're both away and they have looked a lot better at home. But I do like this new system. I think they'll do all right.
I think Chelsea at home to Bournemouth. I think I like that.
Yeah.
If I am available before deadline and I hear Haaland's definitely starting, I guess I would go there because I'll take 60 minutes. I think he's going to come off early though.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially. I think, I suppose the only thing I would say is, do you need to take the hit for Guardiola? But if you think that you really, and take out Edison, but if you think you really want Guardiola and he's going to be a really good option for 38, because he might not play twice in this double Guardiola. There is a chance Ake plays at left back against Spurs. I still think that Guardiola can do really well if he plays one match. You know, he's got that upside, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
I was just kind of thinking, do you need to do a hit? But,
I just think I think back, you know, when I'm sure we'll probably do a lessons learned video or something like that. And one of the lessons that I don't learn each season, I'm very careful manager. So I've taken 2 hits this season. And I think I only noticed that I'd done that because I was preparing for some slides for the Scoutcast, and Andy, FPL mode, took 3 hits. It took a 12-point hit in a week.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I wonder if I've taken that many. So I was just going to message him saying, I've taken that many. But I'd only taken 2 all season.
I'm just checking how many. You've got me intrigued now. I've taken 5. So,
there. So I feel that over the course of the season, I've sort of, in the hit bank, I've got some credit that I can take a hit. And I do think that Gvardiol is going to score 4 points more than Edison. But and also by getting Gvardiol, because Edison's actually more expensive than Gvardiol.
Yeah.
And that just frees up that little bit more money for me. And also, what defenders do I want? So Maguire and Share out. Burn. Burn I want. Who else? If I didn't get Gvardiol, what other defender would you recommend?
It's a good point. I would, if you wanted something a little bit spicier than Burn, you could potentially go Livramento. Because from chatting to a lot of Newcastle fans, well, I say a lot of Newcastle fans, I chat to Neil and Mark every day, and they're the Newcastle fans.
Trippier going to be back, so?
Well, this is the thing. If Trippier was going to be back, he loses a bit of appeal, but Neil and Mark were saying that Livramento could easily move over to left back ahead of Lewis Hall and play there instead because Powell really likes him. So if Trippier's out, which he might be, then Livramento,
Yeah.
he feels nailed then. Great option. Super attacking,
Yeah.
everything you want. If Trippier's back, then you get it's a bit riskier and you might prefer Burn then, but he could easily switch to left back. Is Trippier going to play 2 matches after being out for so long in a close, you could Livramento play one on the right, one on the left. I don't know. So.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Trippier is a good option for those sort of chasing, those on free hit.
If he's fit, yeah.
I especially do like him on a free hit because you may as well go from him because then you've got a bench player coming in if Trippier doesn't make it.
That doesn't help you with your query though about all I'm saying is go for a Newcastle one instead of a Newcastle one.
I feel that share to Burn is safest. It's just safest.
Yeah, he's in my team. Yeah.
So that'll definitely happen. And one of the reasons about Ederson out, so this. God, this must be really boring for people watching, listening. But maybe they're going through the same mental torture as well. So if Fernandes if I'm going to remove him, I'm going to have to take a hit to remove Fernandes. So Ederson stays. So Gvardiol's out of the picture. So in that case, the question still remains: if I'm getting Burn in for share, who do I replace Maguire with?
Well, I was going to say that, and I don't really like this. But it's just somebody's name popped into my head. It would be Romero, but then you're probably going to put you're probably going to go Fernandes to Richarlison, aren't you? So you're locked out of that anyway. Yeah. Romero's a lunatic. He could get a red card or he could score a hat-trick. We don't know. But he's that stage of the season where we're looking at I'm not to get
go. Yeah, you're right. Richarlison would lock that out. And also,
maybe that's the best thing.
I'm a long-time owner in Sky. He's great in that game for the passing and the tackling, but he's an absolute, as you said, he's a lunatic. I don't know whether he's going to score, get a red card, whatever. I just don't know. Who else?
I think I'd probably go for a Liverpool defender. Like Robertson. I think that's where I would end up because you could get an attacking return at Villa, and then you got that Liverpool defender in for game week 38, Klopp's finale, Wolves at home, good fixture. Yeah. So I would go for that. I would ignore the doublers because I don't, as much as I kind of think a Brighton doubler could do okay, and I don't hate that. I might be tempted by Robertson instead.
Yeah, I would as well. I don't know what I'd do in game week 38, but just play it game week at a time. No planning, zero planning, and take a hit. But I like Robertson. And he sets me up for game week 38. I finished seasons. I think I spoke last time about I finished seasons with Harry Kane as my captain many a time, and it's always done me well. Yeah. I have finished seasons with Robertson. He somehow ends up in my team in the final game week, and he gets really good returns from my memory.
Well, he's had this ongoing battle with Alexander-Arnold for assists. They've had bets on it before. They've spoken about it, haven't they? And maybe that's been a little thing in the back of their mind towards the end of the season. Personal goals and things like that, and assist tallies. But maybe just
the other option I have
the right time to pick him up
is that someone in the FPL developers said Emerson Royale. Maybe his defending was so poor. I'm not a professional defender at all.
You don't need to be, Joe. We can all see this.
I can't remember what the goal was. It was just absolutely insane.
Oh, I mean, Liverpool just targeted. Yeah, Liverpool just targeted.
It was so bad. Where me, as a 52-year-old man, I felt I possibly could have just got past it, Royale, and scored.
Well, it was so bad they took him off and they put Oliver Skip at left back, who, to my knowledge, I don't think he's played left back much, if at all, before. And that was with like half an hour to go. It wasn't with a few minutes.
I've waited weeks. I've waited weeks for a Brummy co-host to say Oliver Skip. As you accept that prawn cocktail flavoured crisp.
I'm glad I'm here.
I am very tempted by that. Yeah, and having a bench boost of Robertson, White, and Gabriel, which I hadn't anticipated, but I do prefer that. I'm going to look into that. I think I would prefer that because apart from Gvardiol, I just can't think of it. Romero, another Spurs defender. Lewis Dunk.
It'd have to be a Brighton defender.
Lewis Dunk is probably the only one I would consider. And that was a case of, do I think Lewis Dunk will get me more points from 3 games than Robertson in 2? And I don't know the answer to that.
I'm not sure because I don't really. I think that you look better defensively at the weekend, but Newcastle and Chelsea in a double is tough, isn't it? And then United at home, it wouldn't surprise me if they kept a clean sheet in that. But I think if they come out with similar points, Brighton and Liverpool in 37, you would definitely take a Liverpool defender in 38 over Dunk, wouldn't you? I think so. For that,
I think I would go for that. And another Manchester United defender doesn't, apart from Onana. Okay, it's 10-2. We've got quick 5 minutes or so for some questions. So if you've got any questions in the live chat, we'll try and speed our way through that. The first question we've already answered. Emerson Royal question mark. No. LRM asks thoughts on Madueke for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean he's emerged and he's still going under the radar, isn't he? But he's playing really, really well. There were quite a few players back on the bench for Chelsea at the weekend, and Nkunku, because Nkunku could come in and then Palmer could switch to that right. But I don't think you can drop Madueke under the way he's playing at the moment. So I really like him if you can get to him as an alternative. It'd probably be to a Jackson or one of the or Petrovic, wouldn't it? But yeah, I do like that.
Certainly. Another question here from Jason asks, he's got the luxury. He's already got Salah for game week 38. And he's got Saka as well, and he's considering doing Saka to Richarlison. I think if you've got no other, if you could do a luxury move, I don't mind Saka to Richarlison as a punt, but I wouldn't ideally do it because Saka's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he looks more appealing having watched United last night, doesn't he? Because it's falling apart for them at the moment. And then you're going to want Saka back for that 38. I don't mind it. Like you say, if you've got transfers to Hokey Cokey and you're, that's fine. But I think you will want Saka in 38 back. So I wouldn't transfer him out probably for just a week and then bring him back unless your squad is really well set up.
Yeah. And also, I don't rule out getting Fernandes to Saka this week. Actually getting Saka in and putting him on the bench. Best Bruno replacement. Okay, well that's just basically the last 40 minutes of this video. We think Richarlison.
Yes.
But I don't rule Saka out or Pascal Gross.
Yeah, I think the doublers, those were my two tips, Richarlison and Gross, I think. Presuming that you've already got, Palmer, Son and Gordon, players like that.
Wayne doesn't have a bench boost. Would you start Saka and White over Son and Porro? Good question, actually.
Saka and White over Son and Porro? No, I wouldn't actually.
No, I would go for the double. Just
because it's that Burnley game, isn't it? And I think Burnley will probably score, but Porro could get you an attack in return. And then if he only gets a point or two against City, it's still adding to your tally, isn't it? And you can't. I don't think you can play Saka over Son because Son tends to do well against City as well.
Yeah, I'm happy with Son.
Got a good record.
I do think he's overall in decline, but I'm happy with this. C. Joseph asks, Havertz to Maddison. My answer would be Maddison to Havertz.
Yeah,
after seeing Manchester United.
Maddison, I'm selling him because he obviously hasn't started the last couple. Even when he is starting, he's coming off early. I think he will come back into the team now because they did improve once him and Richarlison were on at Anfield at the weekend. He deserves a start now. He has to play. He has to play well in these next couple of games because his Euros place is hanging by a thread now, isn't it? But I don't think Havertz, Man United away, is a good fixture for an attacker. And then you got that last game of the season against Everton. I wouldn't do that.
We've got lots of questions on Chelsea. I think a lot of teams are already tripled up on Chelsea with Jackson, Palmer and Petrovic. But if you're not, if you've got a space, Gallagher is also another one that's mentioned here by Neil. Gallagher or Madueke, who you said.
Yeah.
I think
Gallagher's interesting because we spoke about him a few weeks ago and almost got him. His role's changed a bit now because Enzo's out. He's gone a little bit deeper, but because Cucurella plays in that, he's drifting in field. Gallagher's actually got a bit of license to get forward. I still think I'd take Madueke over him because of his position on the pitch. Okay. And I would if you want a defender, I'll go Cucurella.
BB defender asks, best Brighton defender if you can't afford Dunk. I don't think there is one. I think none of them have the attacking threat that Dunk has. I think Veltman and possibly Webster are safest-ish.
I was looking at this because Webster's really cheap, and I thought he was good at the weekend.
Yeah,
I suppose three starts in the next week, that might be asking a bit much of him. Is he's just back from injury? Do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I think so. There is options. I think Veltman possibly the safest for minutes.
Yeah,
because there is no other right back apart from Gross, and Gross has been needed in midfield.
Okay.
And left back is Igor really, or Barco. So I don't know which one's gonna play there. So Dunk or Veltman, but I just wouldn't go there beyond Dunk. So I might end up getting Dunk. Thoughts on Gusto? Yeah, I mean, what's the latest there? Is he back in the squad, but will he play?
Yeah, he was back on the bench and he came on at the weekend. And I suppose the concern if you're a Gusto owner now is Chelsea have just kept 2 clean sheets.
Yeah.
And they've switched the defence around a little bit in those matches. Gilchrist played the first one and Chalabar played at right back at the weekend. But they might stick with the same personnel because it's working. Yeah. You've got Cucurella inverting, you've got Chalabar at the back. I can't remember, Thiago Silva came in at the weekend, didn't he? So I suppose that, are you going to, if you're Poch and it's just starting to click, are you going to bring Gusto back in now? And he might get one game.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't I wouldn't transfer him in. No way.
No.
But if you own him, you might play him and just risk it.
FPL Spartans Arsenal, the same theme as well with Gusto. Who scores the most points? So basically he's got Gabriel over Gusto. So I think I'd probably play Gabriel over Gusto, even though he's only got the one fixture.
Yeah, because it might end up just being one fixture for Gusto anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see him coming straight back into that team and starting both of those at the moment. Yeah. So I always tend to favour the double game week players, but if you're not sure if that double game week player is going to get 2 starts, then it changes things a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely. Thanks so much everyone for your questions there. Hopefully we've answered most of them, or the themes there, or have done certainly during the show there. Thanks for your thoughts on our teams as well, and giving us a chance to, well, me in particular with all my injuries, to go off and hopefully, fingers crossed, we all do well. It's another huge score. Obviously not everyone do well, because then we just don't move at all. Everyone gets exactly the same.
We hope our players do well.
Yeah, I'll rephrase that. I hope everyone does absolutely appallingly, apart from me and Tom. So thanks a lot for your time, and I hope you do okay, but I do better.
Not that well.
Thanks a lot for your time. Good luck with the game week. Lots more videos and podcasts coming this week. Do check that out. If you subscribe, you'll know all about that. So do press that subscribe button. Do press that like button as well. It does help us out. Thanks a lot for that. Take care. Enjoy the game week. See you soon.
Thanks, Joe.